So I analyzed 10,000 different prop firm accounts, and here's what actually works. I have access to all of the data that most traders will never ever see. That's over 10,000 prop firm accounts. And I studied every single one to find out what actually separates winners from losers. And what I found will completely change how you trade. Look, everyone's selling you a dream, right? Trade like this, use this strategy, follow this indicator. But I actually have access to something they don't. And that's the actual data. So I work inside of Blue Guardian, which is one of the top prop firms in the industry. And I pulled the numbers on around about 10,000 different accounts. And so I looked at the win rates, and then I looked at the risk management. I looked at the trading frequency, and I also looked at the time of day. I looked at everything. Right? And here's what I ended up finding, and it's not what you think. The traders making $10, $20, $50,000 per month aren't doing anything complicated. In fact, they're doing less than what everybody else does. So let me show you. So here's the first finding from my data collection, and that is the 45-minute rule. So here's the first thing that blew my mind. The most profitable traders in our database spend an average of 45 minutes per day on the charts, and that's it. Meanwhile, the traders who blow their accounts, they're on the charts from 4 to sometimes 6 hours a day. They're probably overanalyzing, they're second guessing, they're revenge trading, and the data is clear. More screen time obviously equals worse results. So why is this? Because trading isn't always about being busy, okay? It's about being precise. So one high quality setup beats 10 mediocre ones every single time. So my second finding was the 1% rule. So 89% of successful traders risk 1% or less per trade. So that's not 2%, not 3%, 1%. So here's why this matters. On a $50,000 account, 1% is $500. So with a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, you make $1,000 per trade. So if you win just 40% of your trades, and you take 2 trades a day, and you're trading 5 days a week, that's $4,000 per month. But here's what the data actually shows, right? So traders who risk 2 to 3% per trade have a 67% higher failure rate. And this is because when you lose 3 trades in a row at 3% risk, you're 9% down. You start panicking, you revenge trade, and you blow the account. But at 1% risk, 3 losses is just 3%, right? You can barely feel it. You stay calm, and then you end up sticking to your plan. And that's how you win long term. So the third finding is that 78% of profitable trades happen within 90 minutes of New York Open. That's 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, why would that be? It's pretty simple. It's because this period of time is when the volume is the highest in the market. So that's when the big moves happen, and that's when your strategy actually has an edge. So the losing traders, they're trading at 2 p.m. when the market's dead, okay? They're forcing trades that aren't there, and they're fighting the market instead of trading with it. Now, the winners, they're showing up at 9:30 a.m., they take their 1 or 2 sit-ups, and they're done by 10:30 a.m. Then they go on and live the rest of their lives, okay? Now, finding number 4 is the instant funding advantage. So this final funding is the huge one. Instant funding traders have a 41% higher payout rate than evaluation traders. Now, why is this? It's because evaluation traders are under pressure. They need to hit 10% profit in like 30 days or else they fail. They need to hit 10% profit, and they're often trying to rush themselves, so they're under pressure. Sometimes they go into drawdown and they try to fix that very quickly. So they overtrade. They take bad setups, and then they blow up their accounts. So instant funding traders, they generally don't struggle with this pressure because they have no artificial targets. They just trade their strategy. So because they're able to just focus on trading their strategy, managing their risk, they manage to get paid out. That's it. And the data proves it over and over. The lower pressure equals better performance. So here's what 10,000 accounts actually taught me. Trading isn't complicated. It's not about fancy indicators, and it's not about secret strategy. It's actually about discipline. Trade 45 minutes a day, risk 1% per trade, focus on New York Open, and then remove the pressure, get instant funding instead of grinding through evaluations. And if you do that, you're in the top 5% of traders. I've seen it in the data, and I've seen it with our Blue Guardian traders. And these traders, by the way, have withdrawn over $20 million in payouts. And none of that is theory. This is actually what works. The data proves it. So if you want to get instant funding and skip the evaluation grind, Blue Guardian offers that. Check out the link to Blue Guardian in the description down below. They offer up to $400,000 in instant funding with 90% profit splits and instant payouts. And if this data changed how you think about trading, hit the like button and subscribe, because I've got more insider data coming that the industry doesn't actually want you to see. So cheers everyone, have a good day.